you know, but I mean, frankly, where I was at in my life then, anytime I got invited to anything, I just assumed I'd never be invited back. So that's kind of the mindset I even had that first night. Was like, no, let's just treat it like a going out of business deal. God gave us the opportunity to do it once, let's do it like we're never going to do it again.
Okay, so many people say when they make their Opry debut, it's just a blur. You know, we've got so many things that are happening, we're interviewing you, and you're stepping in, and it goes by so fast. What has it been like for you each time since then, when you come back? What is the feeling when you step in the circle?
You know, it's crazy. My Opry debut is a little bit of a blur because it was such an emotional night, but I remember everything that happened on the wood. And to me, that's the most important thing. And but I was also in my still heavy drinking phase, so I do not remember the after party. Apparently, there was footage of us at the Nashville Palace all night that night. I wish it'd get off the internet.
Well, you know, being here, you know, there's been this beautiful through line of Craig Morgan,
Yes.
your story. And we got to see the video and you talking about how special he is. What was happening to you physically, mentally, as you sat in row number 7 off to the side and you watched him that first time here at the Opry?
I think this is so much deeper than just seeing him the first time, is that it's understanding, like, when you connect with a song in such a way that that song is almost like it was written just for you for that particular moment of grieving in your life. And I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that, where a song did so much to you in one moment in your life that you felt like that song was for me. And I know that song was written for everybody, and millions of people connected with it the way I did, but that's the beauty of it, that I cried to that song in a jail cell, the darkest thoughts of my life. And you come home and you're like, well, at this point I didn't know what Craig Morgan looked like. You know what I mean? Keep this in mind, I'm on the radio, I'm in a jail radio. And I'm like, I want to go see Craig Morgan. And this old cowboy from Dixie County comes out. And I just remember sitting there crying the whole time, and I think I was crying at the time because I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to stay free. You know, I wasn't sure that I still was going to end up making it home. And to be able to come out of that and remember that feeling, and then, like I told Craig, I spent my whole life just hoping that people would feel that feeling when I sung on stage, the way that he made me feel when he sung on stage. It's too early to get emotional, y'all. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. This night was meant to trap y'all. It was meant to make you cry all night long. I've been choking back tears from the moment you walk in the door. It's like the high school prom I never had times 3. It's just unreal.
Well, we were thinking about it earlier, and I was talking to Jen on your team, and we both said it could be that you are somebody's Craig. Especially tonight, because we have some special friends that are here from JDEC that are going to be out there in the audience. What does that feel like, and how does that sit with your soul?
I think it's just, I'm trying to tell this story on stage, so it'll probably be my story of the day, but I haven't went back to Antioch in a while. And besides, I went to the high school after they had that incident, of course, but I checked in. I've been a few times to the high school. I haven't been, just riding through Antioch. And today I was like, I'm going to leave 2 hours early, which is why I'm late. I'm sorry. I didn't expect my Antioch fiasco to have be so much fun. But I went and stopped at all of my old spots. The place that my father got my first birthday cake is still there. It's called Homestyle Bakery. It's been there since 1975. Somebody put this on the news for me. And they deserve a shout out, dude. And the granddaughter's running the business, and she wants to keep it around another 40 or 50 years. And I bought a bunch of pastries, and it makes you connect with who you were as a kid. Again, you start living your childhood in that moment. When I pull up to my childhood barber shop and I see a barber that I've known since I was a child, And then you start thinking about kids that are in here tonight watching me that are in the same situation. Kids that are from the same neighborhood, that are in and out of the same juvenile that I was in and out of. Ms. Hawkins right here in the second row. She works at the local juvenile, y'all. She's been there for 30-something years since I was a kid. She's been one of the most inspirational, impactful women in my life. I love you so much. And I love that you have showed up for me, baby. It doesn't matter. If you don't ask for nothing, I hardly know you're there. I'll just look and see you smiling and cheer me on. Big moments in my life. And thank you. And I think about people like her and the Judge Todd, that not only did I not let them down, I got to turn around and get back a little bit and try to plug back in. And to have kids in here with that same story, I sound like I'm rambling. I'm just emotional. It's just such a really cool night.
Well, let's talk a little bit.
It makes me reflect on, it's the weirdest thing for me because it's not just the country music, y'all know what that means to me. I mean, right after this, we're celebrating 3 number ones at radio that we've been so busy we didn't have time to celebrate. Like y'all know what country music means to me, but the Grand Ole Opry hits twice because it's Nashville. Like, this was the thing that meant so much to this city when we were kids. It was when you got off at the airport, it was the first thing you seen was the home of the Grand Ole Opry. It didn't say the home of country music at the time even. It was like, this was, because the Grand Ole Opry is the home of country music, you know? So it's a Nashville thing for me, you know? So I'm sorry I ramble up here, I'm just so excited. I look out, I see Nashville faces, I see people that wrote songs with me from the beginning. Zach Crowell, that produced Wicks at Chapel with me, has produced hip-hop records for me, $50 beats. Just, went on the radio 20, 30, 40 number ones or something crazy. Ashley Gurley owns half of those too, so if anybody wants to borrow some money, the money could be by me getting inducted. Ashley Gurley's the one that's got it.
We've been talking about how you are bringing so many different people into country music. You are sometimes the gateway, the bridge that people will say, I don't really like country music, but I like Jelly Roll, and I listen to Jelly Roll. And then you have now introduced them to this genre. How does that feel for you? And do you feel that kind of responsibility when you're out there talking to people about some other artists they need to be listening to?
No, I'm too country not to wear it, so I think people that's part of it. And I think that I'm flattered when people say that, but I think the truth is I had a very small part in what was a lot of artists like myself that were widening the net of country music at the same time. It was guys like Gordon Wall and guys like Hardy, my buddy Ernest who's here tonight. These, this Sam Hunt, Florida Georgia Line, it backs up into guys sneaking 808s in and started just making a little more room for guys like me and guys like us. So, man, I think I was so polarizing, I looked like the straw that broke that camel's back, but man, that camel was on the way out of there, y'all.
Let's talk about what you do before you hit the stage, and is it different here at the Opry? Is there something special that you do before you step into the stage?
Oh, dude, I got super routines. I'm a nerd for making sure I try to warm my vocal up because it's a chance to be emotional and sound bad anyways up here tonight, so I'm at least trying to give my voice the best chance it can. I walk to the stage and we sing Oh Happy Day on the way to the stage. I remember Sister Act too.
Yeah.
And this is a real thing. Listen, Sheriff Darren Hall's here, y'all. He's the sheriff. This is how the irony of my life is that the lady who worked in the juvenile when I was in the juvenile still works at the juvenile, and the sheriff that ran the jail when I was in the jail was still the sheriff at that jail. And they're both my friends here. I'm telling you, dude, my dad's turning over in his grave. He cannot believe it. He would be more blown away by me changing my life than my success. And I think that's what I'm the most proud of, is that my uncle's here and they're not proud of me because I ended up being a famous musician. They're proud of me because I quit being a piece of shit. And that is a big difference.
So,
I'm sorry. Rare form, but I see you name your microphone. I knew I was too emotionally charged for this.
talk to us about stepping into the circle tonight wearing what you have.
Oh, can we talk about this? This is probably the other thing we'll talk about all night. John Carter Cash came backstage to see me. And he opens up a box and he goes, I got something of my father's I think that he would want you to wear. And he opened up this cross necklace that was Johnny Cash's necklace. He said it was his father's favorite piece of jewelry that his father owned. And he thinks that he would want me to wear this during the induction of his son. I lived my entire life somewhere between 2 middle fingers and the grace of Jesus Christ. And I learned that from Johnny Cash. You know what I mean? This is the same guy that famously kicked the lights out on stage at the Ryman and flipped the bird at a photographer while breaking something. That's breaking the law, by the way. He could have been to jail for that destruction of property. And this is also the same guy that I know is sitting right next to Jesus in the throne of heaven, smiling down for all the work he did for God on this planet too. So I wear black because of Johnny Cash. So man, I could cry about this alone. This is just, my uncle grabbed it and almost cried. It was like that big a deal. Fun fact, Johnny Cash was 6'1". Anybody knew that? I don't know why, I don't know why. I didn't have no frame of reference. But I asked his son, and we're the same height too. So I like to think that it sat by both of our hearts, is my thought about that.
That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Tonight is a special night for many reasons, but you have so many of your friends who are here tonight, from Craig Morgan to Lainey Wilson.
Yes.
Talk to us about your relationship with Lainey. I mean, it's so fun to watch you guys when you're together. I remember being at the #1 party that you did a couple years back. Why was it so important to have her here to induct you tonight?
Well, I told Craig this, and I prayed that if I ever got to come to the Grand Ole Opry, that I would get to meet Craig and tell him my story. And I got to go on and tell him my story and sing here with him a bunch and be his friend. And he put me on the record and re-released Almost Home. And Lainey is truly, when I first came into country music, the first person that stood up for me was Lainey Wilson. She has rode for me through it all. She has stood by me no matter what. I've stood by her no matter what. It is a genuine friendship. And anytime you have two artists that kind of start at the same place at the same time and they go on to do what we did, it's so once in a lifetime. This is that, and it's I'm just a sucker for a good old odd pairing anyways, for some reason, because I'm always the other half of those odd pairings, but she's about as odd as I am, you know what I mean? And she is so uniquely Lainey Wilson. She's more likely to get up here and say something crazy than I am almost, you know what I mean? And that's what I love about her. And even outside of her, if I can just ramble for another minute, Ernest, in that same boat, wrote Son of a Sinner with me. One of my first official Music Row write ever was with Ernest, and it was Son of a Sinner. So he was, to me, he's the guy that brought me into the writer's room and showed me that you didn't have to write on an island by yourself. And then he comes out for me, and they asked me about, the comedy's so near and dear to my heart, and it's so near and dear to the opera. They said, who would you want? And I said, well, Leanne Morgan. And of course, I knew when I asked that it couldn't be any more inconvenient. She's filming a television show on the other side of the country. And Leanne Morgan shows up for me, and first thing she says, oh, honey, don't worry, I get to see my mama because of you tomorrow. And I was like, that's a way to turn me just completely screwing you over into a positive. Thank you, Leanne. So I couldn't believe it. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me sharing it, but Pat McAfee FaceTimed me the other night with Ernest at a show. And he was like, hey, this Grand Ole Opry thing's a big thing. I'm coming to it. And I just thought, this is just Pat and Ernest, 3 bottles of wine in after a concert in Indianapolis. And Pat McAfee came all the way from Indianapolis to see this on work. So it's just cool, man.
Well, we know how much you love the Opry, and we just want you to know we love you back. So congratulations on everything. Our soon-to-be newest member of the Grand Ole Opry, everybody, Jenny Wilson. All right, let's get this #1 party started. We've got, I believe who's coming up here? Clay Bradley, where you at, Clay?
Right here.
Come on over here. We're going to get you all set up, and we are going to have a party back